Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about a word work strategy called contractions. And in our words of the week this week, you'll notice that we have some words that are contractions. They have a punctuation in the middle of the word called an apostrophe. Now, when you make an apostrophe, it's like a period. So you start with a dot and then you just add a little tail along the side of it. And the apostrophe goes in the middle of a word and it goes up in the air. So it's not like a period or a comma where it sits on the line. It actually goes up in the air, like this word right here, aisle. So today we're going to talk about some tricks to help you form contractions. And a contraction is just a shorter way to say two words. So for example, I have these words right here on my cookie. The words say I have. If I wanted to say that in a shorter way, I could make a contraction. What I would do is I would take out the H, take out the A, I would replace that with an apostrophe, put them together, and I would get the word I've. So these words would mean the same thing, it's just a shorter way to say it. So I could say, I have $5 in my wallet. I've $5 in my wallet. So it's just a shorter way to say it. The important thing is that apostrophe. So you need to make sure that when you take out those letters to make a contraction, that you put that punctuation where the letters are missing. Okay, let's try another one. I have it is on this cookie. I could make a shorter way to say it is by taking out the I in is, replacing it with an apostrophe, and I could make the word it's. So I could say, it is a cloudy day outside, or I could say, it's a cloudy day outside. Do you see how that's a shorter way to say it? That's what a contraction is for. Okay, let's try another one. You will. You will come to my birthday party. Now, when I have the word will, the trick is to take out the W and the I and to replace it with an apostrophe. So then the word becomes you'll. The contraction says you'll. You will come to my birthday party. You will come to my birthday party. So I'm going to show you some tricks because all of our contractions have different endings and sometimes the rules don't always work. But here are some rules that work most often, okay? So let's remember that a contraction is a shorter way to say two words. So sometimes we get contractions that will have the word will at the end, and that's a common one. So instead of saying I will, we're going to replace the W and the I. Those are the two letters that are taken out. They're replaced by an apostrophe, and the word becomes I'll. So I will becomes I'll. The same for you will. You will, we take out that W and the I, and it becomes you'll. She will becomes she'll. And I bet you could even think of some more, like they will, or he will. They will become he'll, and they'll. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. The next one is have. Now, when we take out letters in have, we take out the H and the A, and then we replace them with the apostrophe. So, for example, I have becomes I've. They have becomes they've. We have becomes we've. And you could think of more. You have becomes you've. Okay? The next trick I'm going to teach you is the word are. Now, because R starts with a vowel, we just take out that A and we replace that with an apostrophe. So let's take the words they are and make them into the contraction there. You are becomes you're. We are becomes we're. So again, I just took out that first letter, that vowel A, I replaced it with an apostrophe, and I pushed those letters together, okay? The next one is not. Now, not is a tricky one because I find that not is a rule breaker because you'll notice that we have an N and then an O is in the middle and then a T. Usually we take out just the O, but not always. Sometimes we take out the N too, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples. So for the words cannot, we actually took out the N and the O. We replaced it with an apostrophe and it becomes can't. Same with do not. We took out the N and the O. Oh, actually, no, we didn't take out the N. We just took out the O and it becomes don't. Would not. We take out just the O and it becomes wouldn't. And when you do that, you notice that the N actually joins the other word and the apostrophe goes in the middle. So not is a little bit tricky because if the word ends with an N, we do take out the N and the O, okay? So that one's kind of a rule breaker, but for the most part, you would just take out the O. The key is to remember that the apostrophe takes the place of the letters that you take out. So in your work this week, we've got a couple of things for you to try. We've got 2 pages for you that we want you to try out, and the first one says contractions. Write the contraction from the flower garden, and after each contraction, write the 2 words that it stands for. So for example, on line number 1, you will write she'll. Then beside it, you will write she will, because she'll means the same as she will, but it's just the contraction, the shorter way to say it. Then you would put on number 2, weed. Ooh, this is a tricky one. We didn't talk about this one. Beside number 2, you would write weed, and weed would stand for we would. Okay, you're going to maybe need a little bit of help from your parents with this one, but I want you to give it a try. Okay, then the next one, this one here has already given us the 2 words, and you need to make it into a contraction at the bottom. So for example, number 1 says cannot. Then down below on number 1, that's when you need to make those 2 words into a contraction. So number 1 says can't. Cannot becomes can't. Then number 2 says let us. Ooh, that's another one we didn't talk about yet. Let us. That means the same as let's. The contraction would be let's. So let apostrophe s. Let's. Okay? Again, I want you to try this. It's going to be a bit of a challenge, but I know that you can do it. Another fun activity that we have for you to do with your contractions is you could make a contraction kite. Now, we put a template on our week at a glance, or you could just make these parts of the kite out of paper, and you will need some sort of string or ribbon to tape them onto. Now, how I made my kite is I started with a contraction word. So I wrote the word wouldn't. You can pick any contraction word, maybe even pick one off of this page here, okay? Then on the bows underneath of the kite, I put the 2 words that it stands for. So would, then I put not, and then on the cloud underneath, I put I wouldn't eat ice cream on a cold day. So I wrote a sentence that has my contraction word inside. Then I cut them all out and I tape them on to a ribbon. And there you have a contraction kite. Okay, so you've got a few contraction activities to keep you busy this week. I want you to try them out. And like I said, they are going to be a little bit tricky, but I know you can do it. So give it your best go. Have fun.